So welcome to week 4 in how to create your character. And a quick update on where we are in our process. We spent the last 3 weeks looking at why bother. Why bother creating your character? Well, very simply, you want to be a unique person with unique relationships with others, and all in the pursuit of a unique purpose, because that's the real fun in life. Pursuing that unique purpose with great friends, but being distinctive yourself. But achieving all this requires having an inspiring character, and that brings us to how to actually create your character. And followed up by the story your character will build and the lesson your character will teach, culminating with what this is all for. So as we come to this first week on how to build your character, we must face the importance of actually seeing yourself. And as this interesting but somewhat disturbing image reveals, it's very difficult to actually see yourself. So to build your character, we must look at how. How do we actually see the real you? Now to do this, we must return to the origin. Your origin, and not the origin of you as a baby, we know that origin, not even the origin of the earth that sustains you and gives you the atoms that make you up of who you are, but the origin of all life. So when we go back to the original beginning, what actually existed? Well, there was God, and I wasn't able to find a picture for God, unfortunately, but there was something else, something other than just God. This, the void, the nothingness. And it was from that nothingness that God brought forth all that exists. So this is the origin of creation. A creator utilizing the nothingness. Now this is very interesting because at the core of you is a void of darkness like this. In your inner world, you have your soul, mind, heart, and body, but you're not your ruling mind, your filling heart, or your subduing body. You are your soul, and look at the soul there. The soul's darkness. It's a void, much like that void that existed before God created anything. And that's why he designed the soul this way. You are an encapsulated void that God can continually come to and bring forth new creations. There is nothing else like that. Your soul is distinctive, and that it's made for God to perpetually create with forever and ever and ever. And then you get to mentally, emotionally, and physically express in your own ways what he's filled your soul with. So then the question becomes, so how do I see myself? Well, you must be the darkness. You must be the emptiness, the void, the nothingness waiting to be filled by God. So the soul itself, you, the real you, must be the nothingness, be empty, be formless, let God fill you, and then you can express whatever he gives you mentally, emotionally, physically, as you see fit. That's simply your job. So the reason it's so difficult to see who you really are is because you're really nothing. And that's your job, to be nothing. And as you're filled with the one who is something, God himself, you can express that out, but you must receive his light. Don't try to make up your own light. Don't try to make something of yourself. Be the darkness, be the readiness and the emptiness, seeking his light to come into your soul, not into your mind, heart, and body. Those are your realms to create in. Your realms of anticipation and excitement to mentally, emotionally, and physically form what you received from God. So, because of this understanding, we're going to put our picture on a black backdrop. So here's where it all begins. You have the spiritual world where there's God who is light, and he sends light into your empty soul. That's the beginning of this amazing character you're going to build. But you need to stay empty. If you notice, the soul doesn't get filled with light. When you eat food, when you hang out with friends, are you ever truly fulfilled? Of course not. Because you're meant to be the darkness, the emptiness. And when God's light flows into you, you then bend it and twist it and shape it and send it into your inner world where your mind is. And then your mind has to figure out, what am I going to do with this light that's not really God's light? It's kind of distorted a little bit. It's coming out of the soul. I got to shape this into a ruling thought. And then that thought is sent into your heart. And your heart has this image it wants to fill with emotion, to do cool things with, and prepare it for your body to form actions and go out into the world. But if you notice, through all these thoughts, emotions, and actions, all this exciting stuff that's happening, you don't change. You stay the darkness. You stay the redness, because light is a ray. It just keeps going and going and going. So you don't want to cut off that ray of light from God. And the only way to continually receive more light from God is to be darkness. That's your job as the soul. If you want to continually have greater thoughts, emotions, and actions, you need greater amounts of light. And that requires you being a greater void of darkness. So be the darkness. And you have no definition. Not even God defines you, because when you take his nature into you, you're going to twist it and bend it and make it a unique expression of the union of you and God. His light, your darkness, mixed together and brought out in unique form. So you become this shadowy soul, this mysterious element that your mind, heart, and body don't really understand. But there's something they do understand behind that. The Creator, the one that formed them, because you didn't create your mind, heart, and body, God did. And he has that nature that they understand, but it's coming through this soul. And you want to play with the light. You want to shape it and twist it into something that is exciting to you, and give it to your mind, heart, and body so they can do something exciting. Let them create the thoughts, the emotions, and the actions. But all through this way, you must stay the darkness. You must allow God the freedom to give his light as he sees fit. And you must be the void. So when you bring your light into the world, it's not going to be like the sun, not going to be like the stars. It's going to be something different. And it's going to illuminate the world around you with a different light. And look at that, it creates a stage. And here on this illuminated stage, that's where your character rises into prominence. So be the darkness, receive the light from God, and then you must express the union of those things, not in the way God intends it, the way you want it to be done. Use your free will. So you are the darkness, God is the light, and together you create a unique character. So that brings us to the week 4 project. We need to make this concrete somehow in building your character. So the first step to this is going to be very fun. I want you to draw your 3 favorite characters, the characters that you love, that you always go back to, and you want to share a moment with them in their story, that whatever element that you've experienced in them in movies or shows, or even characters you made in your mind, that's fine too. But draw those characters, and then under each character, write the awesome ability that they have, the ability that you're like, man, I wish I could do that. Why? Because you're going to create a character that has all 3 of these awesome abilities. So you have your 3 favorite characters, the ability under each, and then at the bottom, draw your character having all 3 of those awesome abilities. And don't use any color, because we'll get to emotions next week. Just use the white pencil on black paper. And that's what will prepare you, having that illuminated image of light on a dark backdrop, that will prepare you then for adding in the emotions of week 5.